Greetings again to our Reba Church community and to the wider Immanuel Approach community. We love you, we miss you, and after 5 long months of coronavirus sheltering in place and social distancing, we really miss your smiles and your hugs. Welcome back for more teaching about the Immanuel Approach. In this segment, I'm going to explain what I mean when I refer to splinter-free positive memories. I'm going to explain why it's important to make sure the positive memories we use for the safety net are splinter-free. And then Charlotte and I will demonstrate how to spot risky memories and how to build 100% splinter-free Immanuel positive memories. But before launching into this new topic, let me quickly summarize points from previous segments that will be particularly relevant. Immanuel truth. The wonderful good news Immanuel truth is that God is always with us. God is always glad to be with us, and God always wants to connect with us. Relational circuits. We have relational circuits in our brains that serve as the neurological hardware for running relationships. And we can connect with each other and with God much more easily when these relational circuits are online and strongly active. Positive memories and appreciation. We can predictably, reliably, consistently get these relational circuits online and strongly active by recalling and connecting with positive memories and then deliberately generating or stirring up strong appreciation. Interactive connection with God. We can establish a living, interactive connection with God by inviting God's presence into the positive memory, asking God to help us perceive His presence, and then noticing whatever comes into our awareness. The special value of God connection positive memories. Our relationships are memory mapped. That is, our relationships are carried in memories. Also, reconnecting with a memory recreates, at least to some extent, the same mind-brain conditions that were present at the time of the original experience. When we use positive memories that include an experience of God's presence, we take advantage of these two pieces of brain science. Our brains are designed to work best in community. Our brains are designed to work best in community. And one very practical result of this design is that describing our internal mental content out loud to another person helps us to feel its importance and to recognize its meaning. Therefore, including this piece in our Immanuel prayer will enable us to perceive subtle manifestations of the Lord's presence that we might otherwise miss, and enable us to recognize and receive subtle interactive content from the Lord that we might otherwise miss. And finally, the Immanuel approach includes safety nets. At the beginning of the session, we set up a positive memory, appreciation, connection with God home base. And then we can coach the recipient to go back to this home base if we get into trouble at any point later in the session, or if we run out of time at the end of the session and the recipient is still connected to unresolved traumatic content. Now, back to the new topic for this week, splinter-free positive memories for the safety net. Many people have positive connection with God memories that still include traumatic splinters. For example, the person's appreciation memory might be from an Immanuel Approach session in which the person experienced Jesus' loving, healing presence powerfully with her in a memory of her intoxicated father beating her and her siblings. However, it's common for traumatic experiences to have a number of distinct traumatic pieces, so that unresolved pieces or splinters may remain even while the pieces that have been resolved are indeed now positive places where the person experiences the Lord's healing presence. Or the person's appreciation memory might be from an experience of perceiving God's presence with him in the midst of a traumatic event. Like the young boy in Uganda, whose initial positive memory was a sense of God's protective presence with him as paramilitary soldiers rampaged through his village. However, while these memories of perceiving God's presence in the midst of trauma are indeed powerful positive memories, this powerful positive component is often closely associated with traumatic content that has not been resolved. And here's the problem. If the traumatic memories that the person works on later in the emotional healing process resonate with the unresolved splinters and thereby activate them, the positive parts of the initial appreciation memory can get blended together with the negative thoughts and emotions from the splinters. In this scenario, if the recipient runs into trouble and you try to take her back to the initial appreciation memory, instead of finding a safety net, you just find more trauma. Not good. So, when you are preparing for trauma work exercises or sessions, and you are therefore collecting positive memories that will be contributing to the Immanuel Approach safety net, it is very important to find positive memories that are completely free of splinters. Again, you will want to make sure the recipient is working with appreciation memories that do not include any aspect of trauma. And if you discover that all of the recipient's positive memories that include an experience of God's presence are also associated with trauma in some way, you can start with simple, totally clean, non-God positive memories, and then upgrade the memories to include an experience of God's presence. As demonstrated in 2 of our earlier teaching segments, as Charlotte and I will demonstrate again in a few minutes, and as also described in more detail in Chapter 6 of the Big Lion Book. Some of you may be asking, but wait, aren't positive memories that include an experience of God's presence supposed to be especially effective as a starting point for establishing a connection with the Lord? Yes, that is correct. As I explained in the teaching segment about how our relationships are memory mapped, memories for past positive experiences with God are indeed an especially powerful resource for preparing a person's brain to connect with the Lord in the present. So when they are available, you will want to use positive God memories. Even God memories that may include splinters. As long as you are planning to do anything other than trauma healing work once you have established an interactive connection. However, when you are preparing for trauma work, and you are therefore collecting positive memories that will be contributing to the Immanuel Approach safety net, if you have to choose between God memories with splinters or totally splinter-free non-God memories, the increased safety of splinter-free memories is even more important than the increased efficacy of memories that include an experience of God's presence. So now we're going to demonstrate what this looks like. What it looks like to spot a risky memory, and then to upgrade a simple, totally clean, non-God positive memory to generate a 100% splinter-free safety net positive memory. And again, we are pretending that Charlotte is a layperson beginner because we want to demonstrate what it looks like for a layperson beginner to use these tools. So most of what she says will be coming straight from the sample coaching words included in the handouts we use for our basic training exercises. So just a reminder, for this demonstration, we are pretending that we're preparing for healing trauma work. We're not going to actually do healing trauma work in this demonstration, but we're pretending that we are preparing for a healing trauma work session or exercise.
Okay. We're collecting positive memories that will be used for the safety net. So the first step is to find a splinter-free positive memory to recall and reconnect with. If you have a memory that includes experiencing God's presence, that would be ideal, but we can also just start with any positive memory. For example, a memory of a special family Christmas, a memory of a special experience from a family vacation, a memory of playing with a favorite pet, a memory of an especially positive time with friends, a memory of a beautiful nature experience, or a memory of thoroughly enjoying your favorite meal.
Yeah, I have a memory.
Okay, good. So now I want you to close your eyes. Imagine yourself being back inside of the original experience and describe the memory in as much detail as possible. Focus on and describe the details until you feel strong appreciation.
So I'm going to use the memory where I was able to connect with Jesus in that whole big car repair disaster adventure. So the car got flooded. It won't start. We tow it to the dealer garage. The head mechanic tells tells me the whole electrical system is shot. They'll have to replace the whole electrical system. It'll cost $7,000. I decide I'm just going to try to fix it myself. I buy like 1,000-page professional mechanics repair manual, and I've been working on it for a week and a half. So I'm sitting in the car. I'm surrounded by tools and parts and wires. I'm feeling really overwhelmed, frustrated, discouraged, and I'm asking God for help, and I'm not perceiving, at least in this particular wave of the project, I'm asking God for more help. I'm not perceiving His presence or any help, and that's really triggering my 18-month-old separation trauma. So that's triggering the calling for mom and dad, and of course they weren't there, so they didn't come. And as that implicit memory from the 18-month-old trauma comes forward, what feels true is I'm calling for help, and God can hear me. He's watching me struggle. He knows I need help, and He's just standing there doing nothing. So that's, as the implicit memory comes forward, that's what feels true. And then the good news is a new thing. I'm in that triggered place, but I'm remembering all the teaching you've been doing about Immanuel, Jesus as Immanuel presence. I'm thinking about the sessions I've been facilitating, watching Jesus' incredible faithfulness. So cognitively, I know Jesus is with me. He cares. He wants to help me. Even while all the trigger stuff is feeling true, cognitively, I'm thinking, you're here with me, Jesus. You love me. You want to help me. It's got to be, there has to be a problem on my side. There's got to be something on my side that's in the way. So I was praying like, Lord, what's in the way? What am I doing that's in the way? What do I need to do different to be able to perceive your presence here? And then right away, I sensed Jesus' presence next to me. I just realized, just immediately after doing that prayer, I'm like, oh, I'm back in the memory. I'm in the 18-month-old separation memory. I'm at the Wetzel's house, and I can sense Jesus standing next to me, and He's saying, Karl, your mom's not coming back for a long time. Let me comfort you. And I also just, as it all connected, I realized at that time, I basically said, if you've got my mom I can't believe you're even talking to me about a plan that doesn't include bringing my mom. Like, if you bring my mom right now, great. But unless you bring my mom right now, like, go jump off a cliff. And it was all part of what I just realized was, that's how I had responded at the time of the actual experience. And that kid place inside that carries those memories had been stuck in that place for almost 40 years. And then more good news is, the result of a whole bunch of stuff, it felt like, I'm finally ready. I'm ready to try something different, Jesus. So even in that kid place inside the memory, I felt like, I'm ready to surrender this angry, frustrated, stuck place, Lord. Help me let go of this. Forgive me for this bitterness. And I was able, and Lord, I do want you to, I'm willing to let you comfort me here. And I was able to actually experience the Lord's comfort in that place, for the first time since the trauma had happened. So that's all pretty, it feels like, I can perceive Jesus' presence. I've just had this big breakthrough. I am able to actually receive His comfort inside that huge, big, important trauma in my life. It feels like a pretty big, important, positive memory.
Well, I just want to check in regarding one thing. If I understand correctly, this beautiful, powerful, positive interaction with Jesus that you're describing is in the larger context of the traumatic memory package of being separated from your parents when you were 18 months old. Am I understanding that correctly?
Right, that's right.
So, well, this is certainly a beautiful positive memory, and it would be a fine positive memory if we were going to use it for an exercise that was going to establish an interactive connection and then do anything other than trauma healing work. However, since we're preparing for a trauma healing exercise, this positive memory needs to be a safety net memory, right?
Right.
So what that means is that we need a positive memory with no splinters. In fact, it's best if there aren't any splinters in the area. And I'm concerned that there may still be splinters in the cluster of memories associated with your separation trauma.
But I've already done a lot of healing. I mean, I've already done a lot of healing on these memories. I've done a number of Immanuel healing sessions on these memories. So like, you'd think they should be good.
It's wonderful that you've done a lot of healing work on these memories, and it's wonderful that you can now perceive Jesus' presence in these memories. And I realize that you can't feel any splinters when you're thinking about these memories right now. But it's just so common to find lingering splinters in traumatic memories. So common to find them that are silent until you stumble onto them when they get triggered. So it's important that we use memories that have no association with trauma.
Yeah, actually, as I'm thinking about it, and that may be right, because I'm just, I think I get triggered. I still occasionally get triggered, and I realize it feels like it's familiar pieces from those memories. Like, it's a lot less often. It takes a lot more to trigger it. It's not as intense. I can handle it much more. I can kind of deal with it much more easily and much more quickly. But I do still occasionally, I think, bump into pieces from those memories. So obviously there must still be triggers there if I still, there must still be splinters there if I still occasionally bump into them. So yeah, I think that's probably right.
Okay, well then, so let's find a positive memory that has no association with trauma. A memory that includes an experience of God's presence is ideal, but if you can't find a positive God memory that has no association with trauma, a simple technique is to start with just a simple, totally positive memory that has no association with trauma, and then upgrade.
Right. So, comment to the audience. Many people have trouble finding positive God memories that are totally splinter-free. So, learning to use this upgrade technique is really important. Therefore, I'm going to pretend that I can't find any positive God memories that are totally splinter-free, and therefore we'll get an opportunity to demonstrate the upgrade technique again. So, yeah, I'm having trouble finding any positive God memories that I'm sure are totally splinter-free. So I think I probably should just use a simple positive memory that's all joy, no pain, and do the upgrade thing. So let me pick one of my simple positive memories. So yeah, so I have a simple, totally clean positive memory.
Okay, so good. Close your eyes as you're doing. Imagine yourself being back inside of that original experience and describe the memory in as much detail as possible. Focus on and describe the details until you feel strong appreciation.
So, I'm on a family camping trip. Maybe I'm 14 years old. And for one of our special family activities on that family camping trip vacation, we took our boat out on the lake in the evening, and we put blankets all on the bottom. It was this fat tub of a little boat, but it had this big flat bottom. So when we covered the whole bottom with blankets, we could each have a spot to we were laying on our backs on the soft blankets in the bottom of the boat, just looking up at the sky. So it's like a quiet evening. It had been it's July or August, so it had been hot and sticky all afternoon, but it's late in the evening. We're out on the lake. There's a little breeze. It's cooling down, so it's like 75 degrees. It's calm, it's quiet. We're looking up at the sunset, and the boat will rock a little bit if somebody moves. But we're all just comfortable and listening listening to the evening sounds, watching the sunset. We've got a big bag of M&Ms, so we each can be munching on one of our favorite treats. We look up at the sunset, munch an M&M. You can hear, like in the evening, when it's still a little bit of light left, there's a song sparrow, then there's a catbird, and we're a couple hundred yards out on the lake, but it's real quiet, and the bird calls kind of travel over the water really clear, so like they're distant, but they're clear, and mourning dove, hermit thrush, one of those. It has this beautiful trilly song. It's such a particularly beautiful evening. You can hear them from back in the forest. Just barely can hear them in a distance, the hermit thrush calling. And as the sunset is kind of fading, the sky is getting darker, and there's still some glow, like the lingering glow from the sunset. And then the herons, at that time of night, the herons fly across the lake to the trees where they roost for the night. So we can see their silhouettes going across the lake above us. And again, it's mostly quiet. Occasionally somebody will make a little comment about something neat, but mostly we're just all lying there quiet and relaxed, and maybe hearing the crunching of peanut M&Ms. It gets a little darker, and the nighthawks start flying over the lake. For people who don't know, they're like this cool, fun, beautiful bird. They're like giant nocturnal swallows. So they're like diving for insects, flying over the lake. And they have this distinctive call, which is kind of cool. Watch them for a while. Then the bullfrogs start calling to each other. And then one will call over here, and one will call over here, and one will call over here, and they kind of call back and forth for a while. And then the whippoorwills will call. There'll be one there further away, one will call over here. And one will call over here. They call back and forth to each other for a while. And then it's like there's this theater, nature theater, that and they each it's a regular pattern where the herons will fly, and then the nighthawks will come out, and the bullfrogs will call, and then the whippoorwills will call, and then the owls. There's barred owls. They had maybe 3 different territories in that around the shore there. So as the end of the evening, as it's getting darker, the owls will call over here, and then pause. Listen to the owls call for a while. And the stars are coming out. As somewhere in the middle of that nature sequence, the first stars come out. And by the time the owls get done calling, and the stars are brilliant, way more stars than at home with all the light pollution, we can't hardly see any stars. The stars are brilliant. We're just all kind of looking at the stars. And, oh, there's Cassiopeia. Yeah, there's the Big Dipper. And maybe the whole evening takes maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours to go through the whole nature theater production. And finally, Dad starts up the motor and we put her back into shore. But the whole, it's a really beautiful, fun family time, nature experience. It's a beautiful evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so now I want you to pray something like, Jesus, I know in faith that you were with me when I was in the boat, on the lake, with my family. I welcome you to be with me now in this memory. Help me to perceive your living, interactive presence. And then I want you to notice and describe whatever comes into your awareness right after you do that.
Yeah. So Jesus, yeah, I do know in faith that I do know that you were there with us. Thank you for being there with us, and I do welcome your living presence, and I ask that you would help me to perceive your living, interactive presence with me in this memory place, Lord. And I can kind of sense I'm getting that. My most common experiences, I kind of have a subtle image of Jesus' face kind of smiling, and it feels like he's sort of here in the room with us and also in the memory at the same time. And it just got this big smile. It's like he's enjoying the nature. He's enjoying the evening along with us, and he really enjoys watching his children be happy together. To have, like, anytime I go to a painful memory of somebody, we consistently, Jesus will be there kind of grieving. He's sad to see his children suffer. And in contrast, whenever I go to a positive memory, I feel like he enjoys watching his children thrive, do well. But he's enjoying the evening himself, but he's also even more, it's like he's watching us enjoy being together. He's watching us appreciate the evening, and it feels like it really pleases him to see us enjoying his creation, to see us enjoying each other, and just having such a good time together.
Right, well, great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we've got a splinter-free, positive memory where you're able to connect with Jesus. Just what we want for a safety net, positive memory.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sweetheart, for helping me with another demonstration.
You're welcome.
So there you go. That's what it looks like to spot a risky memory, and then to build a 100% splinter-free safety net positive memory by upgrading a simple, totally clean, all joy, no pain, non-God positive memory. So let me close with a prayer. Lord, help us to find totally splinter-free positive memories for our safety nets so that we can work with you to heal our traumatic memories in the best possible way. Amen. Amen. We love you. We miss you. Bless you.